Hello and welcome to Narrowcast Boxing. It's May 12th, 2019. In this episode, I'll be previewing some fights for this upcoming weekend, so let's get into it. There are a number of good fights this weekend. The main fight I'm interested in is Deontay Wilder versus Dominic Breazeale. I will, however, be doing a separate video on that because I have quite a few things to say, some of which I think runs counter to mainstream opinions, so keep an eye out for that. With that said, let's start off this video by discussing Josh Taylor versus Ivan Baranchyk. This is for a world championship and is part of the World Boxing Super Series semifinal. This is for a 140-pound championship, I should say. The winner of this fight will go on to face Regis Prograis in the final. Regardless of who wins this fight, the final should be excellent and definitely worth watching. I suggest checking this out as a lead-in to that fight. In this matchup between Taylor and Baranchyk, I'm predicting that Taylor will win the fight. I think that he has the better boxing ability and skills. Baranchyk, I think, is a bigger puncher, but I don't really think that will carry him through to victory. And the undercard of the Taylor-Baranchyk fight is about between Naoya Inoue and Emmanuel Rodriguez. This is a unification of championships at 118 pounds. Normally not somebody who's interested in lower weight classes, as I mentioned in previous videos. However, I have to say that Inoue is a fighter worth keeping track of. He's a pound-for-pound level talent in my opinion. He's very skilled and carries power. I've never seen Rodriguez before. He is a world champion going into this fight, so I have to assume that he can hold his own. I don't have a prediction for this fight, but I'm interested in seeing if Rodriguez can test Inoue. So far, no one really has. Two other fights which I'll quickly mention are Gary Russell Jr. versus Kiko Martinez and Billy Joe Saunders versus Shifat Sufi. Not much to really say about either of these fights. I imagine Gary Russell Jr. will beat Kiko Martinez without much issue and possibly stop him. The same goes for the Billy Joe Saunders fight. A few things regarding Gary Russell Jr. and then Billy Joe Saunders. First, if the Gary Russell Jr. fight wasn't the co-main event of the Wilder-Breazeale card, I wouldn't watch it. Gary Russell Jr. is talented. I like watching him, but he's only fought once a year since 2015, and I can't get excited for a fighter who's that inactive. Also, it's not like he's been fighting top competition in that time. He really only has one good name on his resume since 2015. As far as Billy Joe Saunders is concerned, I have no idea who he's fighting, and I'm not going to bother finding out. I'm not going to waste my time watching this fight, and I don't suggest you, the listener, watch it either. Just my opinion. Saunders is another guy who's really done next to nothing since 2015. He has one decent win against David Lemieux in that time. He's pulled out of numerous fights, failed the drugs test, came into his last fight at 178.5 pounds, and is now fighting someone who no one has seemingly ever heard of for some interim title at super middleweight. To sum it up, if these guys aren't going to take their boxing career seriously, then why should I? I'm just going to ignore these two until they really do something worthwhile. But anyway, keep an eye out for my Deontay Wilder versus Dominic Breazeale episode. I have quite a few things to discuss there, as I mentioned. As always, like, comment, subscribe, enjoy the fights, whichever ones you choose to watch, and I'll talk to you soon.